What's going on, everybody? Patrick Auger here with the man, the myth, the legend, Drake Riggs, here at the Body Lock, here to break down and talk about a matchup that we've heard a lot about, and Dana White just seemingly confirmed again during his fan Q&A yesterday. Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal seems to be the matchup that everybody wants to see. There's a lot of bad blood there. Makes a lot of sense. But we've been talking about it for a while. Is it going to actually happen? Drake, what are your thoughts on this?
It needs to. I mean, you said it makes a lot of sense. It makes too much sense, right? With the positions that they're in right now, the bad blood, it is all too perfect to headline a card. I would say a fight night card. Maybe not a pay-per-view, but they could do that based off Masvidal's popularity alone, even though I would say it's definitely died down and maybe been flipped in reverse a little bit since his last fight. And then, of course, just the rivalry and Colby in general, even though Colby's drawing power is a little bit questionable as well. I mean, he gets people talking, that is for sure, but in terms of bringing everybody in, this would be one that would definitely help with that. Two of the most popular welterweights for worse or better. Will it actually happen? You would think, like I don't really know what the holdup is. I would imagine just negotiations and getting the right price and everything. I don't know. We haven't seen much like in terms of interviews or updates from Masvidal recently since like right after the Usman fight, at least that I've seen. He's done his I don't know what you want to call it, his supporting, right, of leading up to the election and all that stuff. But aside from that, I haven't really gotten any like fight conversation from him and updates on stuff. And I'm not even sure I can recall, his management saying too much either. But yeah, this fight makes all the sense in the world. It needs to happen. That's what the UFC wants. I think that Colby has been a bit more vocal about it recently than obviously Jorge, as I was just saying. Haven't heard much from him. I'm just kind of taking some time off, I guess, or doing what Jorge does, being the BMF or whatever. But I have trouble seeing them not do everything in their possibility to make this happen. So I'm going to say yes, it will happen, but I just don't know how soon at this point.
Yeah, I think timing is a huge issue. And I'm going to actually go with I'm going to say 70% that this happens. And here's why. When you look at Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington, obviously Jorge has been off doing other things, which, building his brand in his unique way. Colby is been notorious about wanting higher pay and talking about renegotiations even before he got the Usman fight. That hasn't gone away. I mean, even with Tyron Woodley, there was the whole issue of scheduling it correctly because he was getting surgery for his nasal passages or whatever was going on. And there's clearly some friction when it comes to negotiations with Colby in the UFC, but also with Jorge and the UFC, right? I mean, there was it was the holdup to Jorge versus Usman was Jorge wanting more money, and Gilbert kind of slid in there, dropped out due to a COVID test, and then they ended up getting the deal done last minute for Masvidal. But, if Gilbert Burns doesn't test positive for COVID-19, we don't see that fight, right? We don't. It's basically Jorge's talking about more money, trying to renegotiate, and Burns gets the title shot. And it probably continues on. And maybe Jorge gets the shot after that. Who knows? But, I mean, people have forgotten that Masvidal and the UFC had friction in negotiations as well. That combination of two parties both having trouble getting bookings done with the UFC is something that I feel will get in the way of making this a done deal certainty guaranteed. Because I could easily see one of the fighters saying, no, I want some more money for this, or, oh, no, I can't because of my schedule. And the UFC saying, no, you have to do it on this date. We're planning out our full year. I mean, clearly in the fan Q&A, Dana White was looking at, 6 months down the line. Plus, that's just how the UFC tries to book all these things. It's very possible they send out a date. Colby and Jorge and the UFC can't come to terms, whether it's due to pay or the date itself. And then you get a matchup, say Jorge Masvidal versus Stephen Thompson, who also called out Masvidal and wants to do the nicest motherfucker belt versus the baddest motherfucker belt. So just because of those, things that are in flux and the way that both fighters have had their issues with coming to terms with the UFC in the past, I think there is a solid chance, albeit still far less likely than the fight actually happening, of this fight not coming together.
Yeah, man, all great points. It's just a matter of when for me, right? So depending on how things can go I would imagine soon that they'd want to nail this down because this is around the time where we start hearing all these main events roll out and everything. So especially to open up the year and get this one, get people hyped for what's to come in the brand new year, it would be too perfect to have this like announced. Let's say they announce it at the next pay-per-view, right? That would be absolutely perfect in terms of marketing and promoting this grudge match. These guys who used to be best friends, like it is such a perfect. It's really a great outside, the cage story and just the ridiculousness of these two characters that have changed so drastically over the years. It's a professional wrestling fan's dream, right? If you want to get into MMA, it is perfect for that. All the drama, all the nonsense, all the gimmicks that you could ask for. It is too good to be missed. But you never know, man. It could be. We could end up seeing Colby versus anybody else. I feel like it's more on Masvidal at this point. Like you mentioned, the problems with him finding the right negotiations and price for that Usman fight and everything, and. We got to mention too that he was kind of along with Jones in standing in the front line of fighters deserve more pay and everything. So I don't think Jorge is going to be one to take any steps back in terms of that, and be a little bit demanding. Who knows? I don't think we'll get this crazy to where we see him released or anything. But if he really plants his feet down, he could end up being in that territory of like a guy who fights once every 2 years or something. Like it's a very rare to see him, or if he ever fights at all. Like I don't know if he would need to anymore. And he's been fighting for so long now. It's like he's got his liquor stuff that he's doing. The what is it, mezcal or whatever. I'm not going to try and pronounce it here without reading it in front of me. But a lot going on for this guy since that year that really put him on the map further. So I feel like we're more likely to see Colby play ball than Masvidal at this stage, actually, which is funny to see. And, if you guys agree, let us know in the comments. What do you think is going to happen between these two? Will they fight each other next? Let us know. Or will they fight somebody else? Don't forget to like the video, hit the subscribe button, even hit the notification bell. Get in that top 10% of people who, get to know when
Go
we're
from
popping
this
up.
level. Get to this level.
Step your game up. It's 2021, people. Let's go. We want to get to 1,000 subscribers too. Let's get that before summertime. How about that? We're gonna push it back to a good space. But yeah, that's all. I'll leave it on that.